So you start off the question with asking, and we'll give my opinions and anything good.
All right, everyone. So welcome to Real Talk with Keith Seymour. Today we're going to be talking about the aftermath of the Republican National Convention, the pick of J.D. Vance, the image Trump has after his assassination and accepting the nomination, and I guess we'll round it out talking about the Democratic strategy moving forward for this election season coming up. With us is me, Albert Moore, but here's your host, Keith Seymour.
Hello, everybody. I'm Keith Seymour. I'm
The camera.
your host of Real Talk, and I'm a journalist, and I deal with things that I feel the mainstream media are not appropriately dealing with. Right now, we're dealing with the Republican National Convention. I watched all of it this week, and I believe you, Bruce, you saw
Very little of it.
that you saw highlights of it.
Yeah, for the most part.
So it seemed like it was more of a pep rally than anything else. You had Hulk Hogan.
Well, that's what a Republican National Convention and Democratic Convention are. They are pep rallies.
But you had Hulk Hogan there. And J.D. Vance, interesting choice, considering that he, as you pointed out to me before we came on, that he once referred to Donald Trump as the equivalent of Hitler.
Yeah, it's not a secret.
No. As a matter of fact, the British media, the European media, all media brought that up. We have that. We also have former Ambassador Haley endorsing him, and notice she said he was unfit.
Well, let me ask you this question. Based on everything that's happened in the convention, how do you feel Trump will do in the election coming up? What was the positives of the convention that you found from it or negatives that would make your decision based on that too?
Well, I don't know if there are any positives. Trump did come off that last night when he accepted the nomination. It was an hour-and-a-half speech. About 30 minutes of it, he actually did the unity thing. But then he started slipping into the old thing about the fact that he was cheated out of the election and crazy Nancy Pelosi.
So it's typical rhetoric.
Yeah, but he just did it in a more calm tone, so it was more subtle. I believe they definitely tried to humanize him, with the granddaughter, the teenage granddaughter, and the granddaughter sitting on his lap. And while it was an unusual choice, it was a smart choice that he chose Vance from the standpoint of, first of all, he comes from the Rust Belt, which is basically Biden's area. So he needs that. Trump has traditionally been seen as a guy born with privilege who has privilege, and yes, his base is behind him, but that swing voter, that undecided voter, this was a smart move simply because if you've read his book, Hillbilly Elegy, which I have, and it's number 1 on the Amazon list. It's headed up New York Times bestseller list, and it's number 1 on Netflix.
Are you selling the book, or are you talking about the book?
It's, the people, Vance comes from a hillbilly, what he calls himself a hillbilly, white trash sort of thing. And you said something about that, the way that people portrayed.
Well, people don't. It's not necessarily a thing that is promoted. Some say he's fake. That it's not really his upbringing. He came from a very well-stable home. I have to look into it a little bit, but I don't know. Does that? Well, you're a Republican voter, correct?
Well, I lean more right. I'm moderate, but yeah.
You're a Republican voter, though, for the most part. Did you vote for Trump in 2016, correct?
No, actually, I voted for the...
in 2016?
In 2016, I voted for the conservative independent.
Who was?
I don't even. It was the National Party. I don't even remember who.
Have you ever voted for Trump?
I think I did vote for him in 2020. Unfortunately, yeah.
No, you did vote for him in 2020. Okay. Does this Does this make you decide again to vote for?
I'm not sure how I'm going to. I'm among the people that I'm not sure how I'm going to vote, or even if I am going to vote. I've literally gone onto my X, formerly called Twitter, and my Facebook pages, and said, "Look, if you feel betrayed by Nikki Haley and you don't like Vance, then you might want to consider either writing Mickey Mouse or yourself in, because at least you'll be able to trust the candidate you're voting for." And I got a lot of likes on that.
Well,
but Vance was smart from the fact that Trump is attempting to take a major Biden area away from him. That shows that he's scared, in a sense, that he really needs this. Trump has insulted the military. He insulted Senator Dole, who was a war hero, called him a wimp for getting captured. He insulted Nikki Haley's husband for being off in Iraq fighting with other Americans instead of following her on the campaign trail. He hasn't really. So it was smart from that standpoint. Also, what's important is that Vance is a millennial. And I don't know how many of the highlights you saw, but I saw all 4 nights, and he had his granddaughter up there. He had his daughter-in-law. He had young people up there from the Hispanic group, African Americans. So he's trying to get that group. He even compared himself to African American voters, or rather had a supporter compare himself to African American voters. I think making himself look more human was a good thing. I think the real winner here, however, was J.D. Vance. First night, Vice President Harris called him up and said, "I can't wait to debate you." Well, that's going to be an interesting event.
Well, I want to get back to the J.D. Vance thing. So it is talked about how he claimed he grew up in Appalachian. Is that what the book details?
Yeah, I mean, it's his mother was there. Apparently, it's true.
This is his grandmother's house. These are summers that he spent there, but he didn't live there.
No, according to the book.
According to the book, but according to a scholar from Appalachian, J.D. Vance would visit his grandmother there. That's not a place he would stay at.
Well, because his mother had custody, DSS.
But the thing is that he was only there for the summers. He didn't grow up in the childhood that he might have mentioned in the book. Essentially, is the critique that the book is receiving. It's manipulative, fabricated, and told, in an extreme way to try to tug at that heartstring, which it seemed to have captured from you.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that, and I read the book. I got the book right after it came out.
You don't hear these things until a person puts himself in the spotlight.
But
he was never in the spotlight to be vice president. When that happens, a lot of your backstory, history starts to be investigated, and things become exposed.
Well, it is true, and his mother admits that it was true that she was basically a lush, and she had a number of boyfriends. And
okay, well, that could be true.
Basically, she had more boys than Martha Wyatt.
Yeah, but that's not the thing. That's not the thing people are critiquing.
But the fact is that he did not come from a middle class. He came from a poor mining town.
Okay.
In Appalachia.
Okay. Joe Biden would tell you the same thing.
Well.
So it's really not that far off from
no.
These rags to riches stories aren't as good as they used to be at some point.
Well, Joe Biden's parents were minors. Joe Biden actually was in very middle class, ended up in a very, but this guy was, the first time he had any money, I think it was mentioned on.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't want to get into
But the point is, what that book is what everybody's concentrating on.
No, that's not what they're concentrating on. Right now, what they're
As far-
concentrating on is what are the plans and goals, and JD Vance's plans and goals seems to be very online. Well, can we talk about Project 2025? Do you know anything about this?
No, I don't.
Wow, how do you not? You need to keep up with the news, mate. Because, I mean, honestly, this is the thing that people are talking about. This is a proposal set up by the Heritage Foundation. You know who they are?
Right, yeah.
Okay, well, these are the goals that the Republican Party wants to put into play for the upcoming Republican president, no matter who it would have been. Because this is Trump, here we are. This is what's believed to be in the Project 2025 proposal. I'm going to try to read as best as I can. If I can find one that has a clear picture of it. I just want to save this. Probably did. Here we go. To end no-fault divorce. To ban abortions without exception. To ban contraceptions. This is a 900-page proposal, by the way. And I can tell you the page numbers the proposals are on. Additional tax breaks for corporate and the 1%. Higher taxes for the working class. Elimination of unions and workers' protections. Raise of the retirement age. Cut security. Cut Medicare. End the Affordable Care Act. Raise prescription drug prices. Eliminate Department of Education. Use public taxpayer money for private religious schools. Teach Christian religion beliefs in public schools. Some of these things are already in play, by the way. End free and discounted school lunch programs. End civil rights and DEI protections in government. Ban African American and gender studies in all levels of education. Ban books and curriculum about slavery. End climate protection. Increase Arctic drilling. Deregulate big businesses and oil industry. Promote and expedite capital punishment. That's vague, but hang on. I'm not done. Hold on. End marriage equality. Condemn single mothers while promoting traditional families. That's okay. I forget that one. Anyway, defund the FBI and Homeland Security. Use military to break up domestic protests. Mass deportations of immigrants and incarceration in camps. End birthright citizenship. Ban Muslims from entering the country. Eliminate federal agencies like the FDA, EPA, NOAA, and more. And to try to put more judges into the Supreme Court.
Yeah, I think I did hear something.
So what do you make of it?
Well, first of all, I did hear something about this on NPR on my way to taking the car in this morning. Come to think of it. Trump has said that abortion should go to the states. Vance wants to end contraception. Vance wants to. It's already come out that Vance wants to do a national ban on abortion. To end default divorces. Well, that goes again to the states. That's a state.
I hear what you're saying, but the thing is, these are proposals in place to try to get that.
This is from the Heritage Foundation. This is not something that has come out as his.
So you think he wouldn't take that on? No, listen. It may not be verbal, but that doesn't mean that it's still something that won't happen while a Republican president. That's the thing, Seymour. It's not about whether or not they verbally say it, because some of these things they have verbally said, as you mentioned. It really is just enacting on it.
Okay, well, we already know because he said drill, baby, drill, and that he's going to end the green thing, okay? The green technology.
Yeah.
He said we don't need to do it,
Right.
Whatever his reason. So basically, we know that's going to happen, okay? Deportation of illegal immigrants. He said he was even going to finish the wall. That's not a big surprise. Okay.
It's not about a surprise, Seymour. It's about
okay.
these things being
Okay.
implemented. Is this
Well-
good or bad? Because JD Vance, this is the thing I meant by these two are on the same team or same size. That's why Vance is a good pick. But is this a good direction for the country to go into with these potential plans in place?
Well, the president doesn't make the laws.
No, that's not what I'm asking you. I'm not asking you the president makes the laws. Because again, these are the plans in place to implement with a Republican president. You get a House, you get a Senate, you get the courts. Is this a good direction for the country to go into?
No. But again, we're being premature. Even if Trump, and we need to see now between what happens in the debates between now and November, and I will do more videos on that as those occur. What exactly is said? We already know that he plans to the southern border security. We already know that's a given. Okay. Trump's been married 3 times, so marriage equality is not exactly big with him in the first place. I mean, his wife still stays with him.
That has nothing to do with marriage equality.
But
what's marriage equality?
He doesn't treat women as equals.
I bet he doesn't. But can you tell me what marriage equality is?
Well, it's decided upon by the couple. The couple decides.
No, that's not. Marriage equality is that gay people can marry.
Oh, that. Well, yeah, that again, that's something the Supreme Court has ruled on.
There's talks about overturning it though, so
okay,
that's the thing.
Okay,
and that could be well done.
But we had a conservative court when that was ruled on in the
but things have changed so much since then.
Okay. So in order to do that, the Supreme Court has to overturn that. Now, I personally feel.
Plus, there's new judges in there too since the Obama administration.
True, and I personally feel that should have been decided by the states, like the death penalty, and like abortions.
Yeah, but nobody wants things decided by the states anymore. America, I think, is coming to a point where we're fine with a dictator. It's just whether or not we can agree on who the dictator is.
It's an interesting point. And again, can you trust a man who has actually compared his boss, the man who chose him as his running mate, just a year ago to Adolf Hitler, the worst dictator in the history of the world? Okay, well,
yeah, I know.
Unless you count Julius Caesar, but hey, he got what was his comeuppance. But the thing is, Vance was a good pick to balance the ticket. Now, the concern right now is, and all the vice president is he has 2 jobs, according to the U.S. Constitution, which is in my drawer right there if you would like to get it, and that is to fill in for the president if he has to resign, he's incapacitated, this has to step down, etc., and to break a tie in the Senate. Now, if, as the Republicans are planning to get a majority in both the House and the Senate, Vance, for all practical purposes, really his only job is to wait for his boss to die, or to step down.
You know what? I hate
or to
when
be
you say
impeached.
that, because essentially, isn't that technically all vice presidents' jobs?
Well, that's up to the president. The president decides whether he's actually makes any important decisions. He goes on, and Trump likes the limelight. Trump isn't going to let Vance take over. If Trump's not going to let Vance visit the King Charles when that time comes. Trump's going to want to go.
Okay.
Okay.
I hear you.
Okay.
I hear you. I totally hear what you're saying.
Trump may send Vance to, Korea or some little unknown country, whatever. Have him cut ribbons and that sort of thing. But the best thing that can happen, in my opinion, for Vance is if the Senate is 50%, because Vance actually gains some power there. He's actually important to Trump, and he actually has a playing card. Hey, boss, you want me to do this? You're going to implement some things that I want, whether you like it or not. He has that as sort of a bargaining chip.
I hear you.
But if Trump gets what he wants, which is, as he stated in the
Sorry about that.
That's okay. As he stated several times in his speech on Thursday, a majority ruling that both the House and the Senate. The House is not going to be so hard. The Senate is has always been a bit of a challenge. Then Vance becomes irrelevant. Now, what we also have to consider is not only this election, but the bipartisan elections in 2 years.
Let's just get to
not the bipartisan.
Seymour, let me ask you a serious question. How do you think? Well, let's two questions. Let's talk from the Democratic side. The Republican side? Trump supporters side. How do you think the public would react, let alone Trump would react if he lost the election?
I think he would probably react the same way. I don't think it would do him any good, and I'm glad you brought that up because I've been actually thinking.
I have a follow-up on that, but
I've been thinking about that. The thing is that in the last time he lost the election, and he did lose the election fair and square, is his vice president was counting the votes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And there was something that maybe he could. I mean, they were actually his supporters. Whether he provoked it, that's still to be decided by court. I have my own opinion on that. And I go with the idea that you don't yell fire in a crowded theater, and that's basically what Trump did. But the difference will be that Vice President Harris will be counting the votes. Whether or not Trump wins or Biden wins, she will be, according to the U.S. Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution, she will be certifying the election. So there's nothing he can do about it.
No. My question is, how do you think he's going to take it? It ain't about what he can do about it.
Oh, he'll probably say that he was ripped off again.
All right. Now, how do you think his followers would take it? What do you think they would do?
Well, if I have to go by the evidence of the past 4 years, they're probably going to they're probably going to buy it, and he's probably going to run again.
All right. Well, I guess my thing is, like, do you feel like he can get violent?
You mean to the level of January 6th?
Oh, I think it'll be, well, if you're asking me, it's going to be more than January 6th. At least going to try to. While you think about that, the other side of this coin is, if you think Trump wins, do you think he'll allow another election to happen? And I was like, what do you mean allow? Dude, the Supreme Court already told him that the president has sort of carte blanche. You think he wasn't trying to stop an election last time? Well, 4 years in office, he'll have enough time to figure out how can we prevent an election from even happening. Or at the very least, term limits. Take them away.
Well, but there's actually an amendment.
Oh, I hear your amendment, but you tell me things can't get overturned?
Okay. No, they can't. But let me tell you what has to happen for it to get overturned.
Mm.
Okay. You're talking about there has to be a 2/3 vote in both houses to put this forth as a constitutional amendment. Okay? Then it has to be ratified by 3/5 of all states, which can take years. Okay? The ERA, that was set for the longest. That was set for the longest period of time, 7 years. It didn't pass, and they put it on another 7 years. It still didn't pass. So it's not so easy to do that.
Okay, easy. Like I said, it's still 4 years.
Since Franklin Roosevelt died, there's been an amendment in the Constitution that says that a president can only go 4 years. If we go on that assumption, and I think this is what will happen once Trump is out, okay? And I've heard from a friend of mine who's actually a Democrat, actually my best friend's mother. She worked, she was a campaign worker with the Carter and Mondale administrations. Lives right here in Columbia. And she said that she's heard through the grapevine and that basically the plan is when Trump leaves office, he's going to endorse Vance, which I think is going to be very dangerous. Although I would rather have Trump live through those 4 years and endorse Vance, because Vance would have to run against another set of Republicans and a Democrat. So that would buy time. Then to have Trump step down or die or resign or become incapacitated while in office, because I think Vance is the more dangerous of the two. I think Vance is the more dangerous of the two. He has the more radical, whereas it is believed, and I'm one of the people, that Harris is more liberal than Biden. Okay. Vance is more to the right, if possible, than Trump. I mean, if Trump's Hitler, then Vance is a potential Hitler plus Mussolini plus what was the guy's name in Cuba? And Burnett. So he's Hitler times 2. So I think Vance is, and I don't even know if Vance. I think Vance may be what they call a rhino. Okay, and what
you don't think he's a real Republican?
I think. Well, no.
Only a Republican in name, huh?
Yeah, I do.
Why? Because
here's a guy that said, he said he praised Obama. He praised, he
praised to who?
Yeah.
Well, he praised, like gave credit.
Yeah, he gave, President Obama was this wonderful person.
He might have been a wonderful person.
He thought he was a good leader. He said that he would never endorse Trump.
Well, hang on a second. Whoa, wait. Was Obama really a bad leader?
I'm not saying that he was a bad leader.
Well, you say a Republican in name. Is he, like, seriously? Objectively speaking, as Republican, was Obama a bad leader?
I don't agree with his political.
That's not what I'm asking you. Was he a bad leader?
No, I don't agree with.
You're not going to agree with everyone's policies. That's a given. That's just what it is. But the question is a leader.
He was
like hang on. I don't think George Bush, he was not a great leader. He was president, but he wasn't a good leader. Like, some people are presidents, but they're not leaders of men. But they happen to win the office. Nixon, I don't think, was a leader. Jimmy Carter wasn't a leader. Exactly. But the thing is, they got the office. The question was he a good leader? Obama can make a person run through a wall with his speeches.
Yeah, Obama was charismatic. Yeah,
he was a good leader.
He was a good leader. Okay, I don't agree with his
That's fine. You don't agree with policies. I'm not asking you to agree with policies. I'm asking
political affiliations aside. Obama was a pretty decent president.
There you go.
Okay,
And that's all JD Vance is saying.
but
Now, are you a rhino for saying that since you're a Republican?
no, I'm speaking as a journalist.
I hear you speaking as a journalist, but
objectively.
you do vote Republican. You listen. Nobody cares about objective on this thing. I'm asking you to pick a side. Is JD Vance a rhino?
Yes, he's a rhino.
Why?
Because the guy said that he stood against everything. He said that he was.
Would that just make him a hypocrite? Not necessarily a rhino, because he can still be a Republican, but you can be a hypocritical Republican. I guess.
He can be a hypocrite, but I think he's more of a. I believe that Vance is the type of person that once Trump gets through and endorses him, says, okay, I'll endorse you. If he was paid enough money or given enough incentive, he would switch to independent. He would switch to Democrat, just like Bernie Sanders did. Bernie Sanders is an independent, but he ran as a Democrat because that's the only way he could get his campaign funded. Okay, I think that Vance is more of an independent, a libertarian, which basically means he's a conservative, but he also has, he also has democratic values. So I don't, which is actually libertarian is the worst thing you can call a Republican. But I think he would. But libertarians don't get elected. Only Democrats and Republicans do, and that's something we've discussed. But I don't trust Vance.
Okay.
I actually wouldn't put it past Vance to actually. Let me just. If I was Trump, and I was invited over to the Naval Observatory where the vice presidents, which is the vice president's residence, I would take a taste tester with me.
I hear
okay, I would take a food tester with me.
Okay.
Okay, because rather than a member of the, I don't see Trump doing away with the FBI, and I don't see him doing away with the CIA. For two very good reasons. He can use as president, he can use the FBI to spy on his political opponents.
Okay.
Vance and Vance is military, and that's again that also works in and now I will say this about Trump. Trump had, he put out a lot of lies out there, well, falsehoods, whatever you want to call them. But the one thing he was truthful about is that Biden and the media confirmed this, national media on ABC News confirmed this, that, the Blue Star families that lost, there were 13 families that lost, Biden didn't even acknowledge them. He couldn't even remember their names. He was, whereas Trump sat down 5-6 hours with them. So, Trump has that on his side. Okay, so that's personalizing it a bit, but, quite honestly, if you had a family member who died in war or was captured as a prisoner of war, and you wanted answers, and the president said, well, I don't have time for you, you would probably personalize it too.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Okay,
fair.
so they said, trying to remember what her name is. She's the correspondent for ABC News. Um, uh, really, I'm always really impressed with her too. Um, but she confirmed all this, and she said basically, yeah, that's true. Um, because she was there when they came back. So he had some good moments. I think I think there's a good chance of him getting elected. And this is what I want to turn to next is particularly in regards to major Democrats seemingly, in my opinion, throwing Biden underneath the bus. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Pelosi, um, what's the other guy from California, Obama, they've all publicly said, "Joe, you can't handle this. Step down. Give it to Harrison." In other words, um, step down as president right now. Let Harrison serve your term out. Give your delegates to her. Have her run as an incumbent. You know, um, I don't know, and you're more of the Democrat than I am, obviously. So, do you think Harris could win against Trump?
You asking me?
Yes.
Do I think Harris can beat Trump?
Yeah.
I no, not offhand. We got to see a campaign.
Okay.
Like if the election happened today, Trump will win.
Okay.
I got to see a campaign because you're asking me blindly, and not even blindly, because it's just Harris has nothing to really talk about. She has nothing to lean on.
She has 4 years of experience as vice president.
Yeah, but she has nothing that she could point to that she's done. Trump has 4 years of actually being president.
Okay.
And if nothing else, he has 2, if not 3 years or something that he can point to. And he can just point to Harris and be like, yeah, you and your old man came in here and ruined all that.
Your old man.
Well, he ain't the president no more.
Okay.
So, yeah, Trump will win.
Okay.
If the decision, if they're going to put Harris in, it has to be at least before this month is over. Because you got to go into August with a campaign.
Yeah. Agreed. I think now, who would be her running mate?
No, I can care less.
Because that's going to, I'm thinking, because.
Well, let's figure out who would be the best.
Well, they're talking about the governor of Pennsylvania, where that's the Democrat. He came out and gave the speech after Trump's assassination. They're talking. I don't remember his name, but I heard this on newscast which is the British podcast that I listen to from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that another possibility, well, Joe Manchin maybe.
There's Ashley Bashir. I'm sorry, Andy Bashir, Kentucky governor, who has been discussed as a replacement for Biden. Could be an idea running mate for Harris on the ticket.
Kentucky, okay, that would even things out because you got Kentucky. Again, that's the we call it Iron Belt or where Vance is from. So you would have an equalizer on the ticket.
Possibly. Then you have Josh Shapiro, 51, been frequently discussed as a possible running mate. Been a rising Democratic star and governed one of the key swing states in the country. Doesn't really say what. I know Pennsylvania. Yeah, Pennsylvania. He's a Pennsylvania governor.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then there's J.P. Brisker, Illinois governor, 59. who's a welcoming fellow Democrat to Chicago next month in the convention. So you'll probably see them, J.B. Pritzker.
Is there anybody from Colorado?
There's Michigan Governor Grinchett. There's Gavin Newsom from California. I think that's it. One from Colorado.
California, that would be.
Well, Gavin Newsom is not really popular, I think, even amongst the Democratic base because of some of the legislation. But
yeah. Well, here's the thing with California. Your two largest states are California and Texas. Okay. In theory, if you could get both those states, all you would need is a couple of states and you would win.
I hear you.
Okay.
But,
the Democrats have California. The Republicans have Texas.
Yeah, so that's why that's not even
okay.
That's not even a great strategy. That's not even a realistic strategy because Republican is not going to win California and no Democrat is going to win Texas.
Right. So, but Colorado is a purple state.
Okay.
And that Colorado is also the one that tried to take Trump off the ballot at the end of last year, remember?
Yeah, I hear you.
But the Supreme Court ruled on it and said they couldn't.
No.
They couldn't do that. So someone from Colorado, that might be a good idea.
Yeah, but it may not.
I think that basically, I if it was me, I would have Robert Kennedy Jr. as a running mate.
You said that before.
And here's why. Robert Kennedy Jr., I mean, the Kennedy dynasty is pretty much over, but the name is out there, and the name Robert Kennedy, it still means something. This was a guy that even, Republicans admired. And
are you talking about Robert Kennedy?
Yeah.
Okay, but he's dead.
But his son.
Yeah, but that's not his son. I mean, that's not Robert Kennedy. That's his son. That's not the same person.
But the name.
I hear the name, but that's not enough for everyone to be like, oh yeah, I'm voting for them.
It's enough for them to consider it.
I guess. But look, here's the deal. He's running as an independent. How many people are considering him right now as an independent?
That's my point.
No, that's my point. You're saying he can make people sway. He's not making people sway now. You understand after that debate, nobody said, how come we can't put Robert Kennedy in it? No, everyone's like, we got Trump and Biden.
Trump on the first night of the convention, they showed a video of Kennedy, and it was rumored that Kennedy and Trump were negotiating, Kennedy endorsing him for president, and Trump was going to say, I'll make it worth your while. Kennedy is a Democrat. But,
hold on. That even goes to a bigger point. If Kennedy is a Democrat and the voters, not the party, but people who are voting Democrat, aren't even looking at him as a real option, as an independent, considering what they're stuck with, what makes you think him joining the ticket is going to make that any different?
Well, because
he can't build traction on his own, is my point.
No, what I'm saying, though, is he runs as a Democrat.
He's not building traction, even in this whole, we don't have a
choice. But because our country's electoral college system, which I know that you disagree with, and to some degree, you have some good points there. But
because all of this is actually relevant, because some people win the presidency even by losing the popular vote. Trump became president by losing. Trump's never won a popular vote.
Well, again, that goes up to how the electors in each state are.
I hear the electors.
It's up to the states to. There are 2 or 3 states, I think, that divide them up by percentages or whatever. But I think that Kennedy he was a Democrat. He could seal it for, he could bring people over because I mean, people aren't considering him now because he's running as an independent. Nobody takes third parties. Uh, I mean, he's got a few votes, but he's probably not going to be invited to the debate. But if Kamala Harris is put on a ticket in place of Biden, then and she runs as president, he runs as vice president, or vice versa, he'll be involved in the debates. Okay, and people are going to throw the Kennedy name out there.
Kennedy name's already out there, as you mentioned.
You know, and they're going to use it. Well, my father did this, and my uncle did this, and you know, and then you've got Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's married to Kennedy's niece Maria Shriver, saying, "Well, yeah, he's a pretty good guy," you know. So, you know, I think that Robert Kennedy would be a good running mate for Kamala Harris. I preferably at the top of the ticket, but I don't think she would go for that. That would cause all sorts of problems. But I do think that right now you've got a guy who has been diagnosed with, well, definitely COVID, but I believe he's also been diagnosed with Parkinson's, or at least that's.
Oh, I thought you said he was diagnosed. Now you
Well, he was.
believe?
He had.
Okay, let me just see. I'm just going to see if I can find the news myself because you're speculating. Does Biden have Parkinson's?
I know there were rumors about it.
Yeah, I know that everyone knows there's rumors about it. The question is, does he have it? He's saying he's not being treated for Parkinson's.
No, they're saying he's taking medication to offset it. He hasn't been diagnosed, but he's taking.
Well, I asked you earlier, does he have Parkinson's? What was your answer when I asked you that? You said yes.
His doctor said that they're giving him.
I know, but no. But my question is, does he have Parkinson's? As a journalist, that's a very direct question with a very direct answer because either you have it or you don't. As a journalist, with the information that you claim because you're so objective, does Biden have Parkinson's?
If he's getting medication for it, yes, he probably.
No, can you confirm that? Because some people take things for.
I have epilepsy, so I take medication for epilepsy.
Yeah, but your epilepsy is not Parkinson's.
Okay. No, Parkinson's is worse.
I know, but it's not. That's the point. It's not. So again, has there been any report that confirmed yes or no?
So let's say
No. I need you to answer the question before we start delving into this, because you keep bringing this up. Is there any report that says he has Parkinson's?
It's mostly.
The answer is no. Then
it's not
no. There is no report that says he has Parkinson's, so there's no confirmation. If you are a journalist, then how about you use some internal journalistic integrity and stick with the facts?
Okay.
And quit going with speculation.
If he's taking medication,
that's speculation.
No, he's definitely taking medication. His doctor confirmed that he's taking
but
medication.
Still, that doesn't mean he has it until we can confirm it.
Okay, so that makes things even worse. Okay, at least if he doesn't have Parkinson's, that means that basically he's just a doddering old fool.
How are you a doddering old fool? What is Parkinson's?
He at least has an excuse.
What is Parkinson's? Like, what is the disease itself? It affects movement. That's it. It doesn't affect your cognitiveness. It just affects your movement. FDR couldn't move his legs. That had nothing to do with his decision making.
FDR had polio.
Yeah, again, he couldn't move his legs. This is about you.
Parkinson's does affect the cognitive ability at some point. Yes, it does. But
it affects the nervous system. We should probably do our research before we do this podcast because we don't know what Parkinson's is. You don't know if he has medication. I mean, you don't know if he actually has it. Yeah, I think you're equating Parkinson's with dementia. Because you're stuck on the dementia thing, aren't you?
Well, I think he does have dementia.
See, that's what you're really stuck on. You want to say he has dementia, but instead you're using Parkinson's because he has a medication. So that's what you're grabbing onto. You are built for the internet. Using hot buzzwords with no context.
You know, here's the thing. You said yourself that if the election was held today, that
Trump would
Biden
beat Trump would beat Harrison. Is what I said. Trump would beat Harris. I didn't say he could beat Biden. I'm not exactly sure because
if the election was held today, could Trump beat Biden?
I don't know. And I only say that because here's the facts. Regardless of who Trump runs against, anyone voting against Trump is just voting against Trump. They're not voting for the other person. There's going to be a lot of that. That's how Trump won his election in 2016. It was the anti-Hillary votes. We don't want Hillary. I think that's what gave him the ledge. But it didn't matter because he still lost the popular vote. But it was still accepted amongst the public. I don't think it's going to be the same thing amongst this year. In fact, most people who are voting are only voting to not vote for Trump. If 2020 had the highest election turnout, where Biden had 80 million votes, that's the one thing the Republicans hang on to, that Biden had more popular votes than Obama. Is Biden more popular than Obama? That's what they keep saying. That's irrelevant of a fact because all 2020 proved was that in a situation where people had very limited options to do because of the whole pandemic and containment, they decided to go vote. And with everything that was building up, it was just we don't want Trump in office because he's not helping any of this situation right now. Everything is reactionary.
I agree.
These elections since Obama left office have just been reactionary elections. Trump was a reaction to Obama being president. Biden was a reaction to Trump being president. Now we're in this situation because we're reacting to Biden and Trump having to be president. All of this is just reactions.
That brings us to another point. This has the possibility of having the lowest, because nobody wants either. The majority of the people, and 65 to 70% of Americans polled across the board believe that Biden should step down. 65% of his own party think that he should step down. 70% of Americans believe that he should step down. But
keep talking.
Nobody wants either of these two old guys there. So the question here is, should there be an age limit? And I raised this in one of my previous videos on presidents. We're required to retire unless you own your own company or something. It's 65. Why shouldn't that be the age? Bishops in the Catholic Church are required to retire at 70. So should there be age limits? I spent 4 days watching the RNC convention, and I don't think it fares well for this country. I think that Vance is far more dangerous than Trump, and I am disappointed in fact that Nikki Haley, and I know former Governor Haley from the time when she was governor of South Carolina. I mean, if she had to give her, I have no problem with her giving her delegates, because Trump would have won with or without them. And if you don't have the money to continue a campaign, that's fine. You know, personally, I was going to do her as a write-in vote. But to publicly say that you endorse a guy 100%. And here's the other thing. If someone else is put in Biden's place, someone like Robert Kennedy or the governor of Pennsylvania or someone else, then does Trump stand a chance? When Nikki Haley, when Nikki Haley gave her delegate, she said she got on her Facebook and Twitter, and she said the younger person's going to run against Trump. And if that happens, I believe it's going to make things more difficult for Trump. If a younger person runs against Trump,
it depends on who it is.
Well, let's say it's the governor of Pennsylvania.
Who's the governor of Pennsylvania? Oh, I know it was the lowest voter turnout. That's what I wanted to see. Yeah, who's the governor of Pennsylvania?
You just had his name up there.
Give me a second.
He gave the speech.
Josh Shapiro.
Yeah, Shapiro. If Shapiro runs, you know, first of all, he's in Pennsylvania, so that is a what do they call it? Iron Belt or whatever you call it. It's the middle of the country state. So, and he's pretty eloquent. I mean, people liked his speech when they thought that Biden was just totally lame last Saturday. Here's something else. Trump is going to probably use this shooting and the fact that he survived. It's already been used by those who endorsed him this week as showing how tough he is. And that's been a subtle comparison compared to, actually someone even said, I don't remember who it was. I think it might have been Haley, actually. She said something to the effect that Trump can do what Kamala Harris won't do, and what Biden is unable or can't do. If you get a younger person, then that's really going to throw a wrench into it. So let's say we do get Shapiro or we do get Kennedy. Wouldn't you agree that would make the race more interesting?
For who? Did they get Kennedy? And Shapiro?
Or Shapiro, one of those.
I don't know. I have to see it. I don't know. I'm disenfranchised. I don't have a strong interest. Will people get excited about it? I mean, I guess it'll be better than what they currently have to deal with. But at the same time, I don't think the Democrats are trying to win.
Yeah, you said something about that. I want you to explain that.
Yeah, I don't think Democrats are trying to win. I'm trying to explain it. Be quiet. Democrats are not trying to win. Democrats try everything they can because they have a strong side that most people believe in, their values. Like most General Americans do believe in liberal values, and there's nothing wrong with that. Free healthcare, free education, universal healthcare, shall I say, free love, all that stuff. But Democrats aren't really built for, I don't want to say the 1%, but the wealthiest people in America. It just aren't. Like the Republican values fit more into the line. Tax cuts, breaks, things of that nature. I guess conservative values. But in the end of it, I don't think Democrats are trying to win because this is all a power grab. It's all about controlling it. And Republicans try more often than not to actually win. Democrats are just there because they have to be. But I don't think they're trying to win. They haven't been trying to win an election since, I guess, Obama. I'm not sure if Obama was supposed to be as powerful as he was.
Interesting. Now, I've always heard it said that Democrats do better on foreign policy, but are weak on domestic policy.
Well, that depends on what you define as weak.
And weaker than.
But tell me, what did you define as weak? Like, what is strong domestic policy?
Okay. They're less effective than Republicans on.
You mean getting it done?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, getting it done.
Okay.
Well, yeah, Democrats again, like I said, are trying to win.
Whereas Republicans do much better on domestic policy than they do foreign policy. And quite honestly, I will say this as someone, because I keep up with all of the British newscasts, the BBC World News and newscast and Good Morning Britain and all of the other shows, BBC Question Time, because I have friends in England. I grew up in England in my early years, and I still keep in contact with them. I watch the news, and based upon that alone, Trump is a foreign diplomatic policy problem waiting to happen. Okay, I nobody wants to deal with this man. Okay, the British have actually not put an ambassador. They just had the election. They've got all the cabinet positions filled. United States because of the outcome of the election, so they can pick someone who they think can handle Trump. Okay, and considering it's the Labor Party, which would be like our Democrats, it's going to have to be. I would have to say like someone like Blair, former Prime Minister Blair.
Yeah, I know.
Who has foreign policy. So I'm not sure I see Tony Blair.
What's your point?
So I think that he's, Trump can do a lot domestically, but I see him having problems with our allies. And especially if Vance gets his way. Now, Trump claims that on the first day, he's going to create a peace treaty between Ukraine and Russia. I guess pretty much similar how on the first day in office, Reagan got the hostages released in 1981 from Iran. But Vance wants to pull out from the Ukraine. And assuming, and I don't think that Trump can do it on the first day, the first 100 days, maybe. But that 3 months, then we're going to have a problem with the, the Congress. And again, if Trump gets what he wants, and he gets a ruling majority in both the House and the Senate. I don't see that happening. One or the other, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But if he gets that in both, then Vance actually becomes irrelevant. He's there for cutting ribbons and making his boss look good, and that's it.
Okay.
You know.
All right, I hear you. I get you. Okay.
But we've gone through the Republic. Let's end on what we think could happen with the Democrats from this point forward, going between now and. Do you think there's a possibility that Biden's digging his heels in, but basically a lot of powerful people, Obama, Pelosi, everybody seems to be anybody in the Democratic Party seems to be saying, if you want to win the White House, if you want the people to have, then you've got to step down, hand it over to. So what do you think is going to happen?
Oh, I think he's gonna.
You think he's going to run?
I mean, you try telling a person. You know how hard it is to tell a person stop doing what you're doing, especially if they actually love doing it. Biden's been a politician for I don't know how long.
Oh, God, 50, 60 years?
It's his career.
Yeah.
It's his passion, I guess. And he finally got the one goal that he was hoping to dream, I guess. I don't know. I hate to say it, but they got to kill him. Take it from his cold, dead hands.
Yeah. Now, that does bring up an interesting point that I do want to. The shooting.
Yeah.
Last week.
Oh, yeah. The
now,
assassination attempt. Not the shooting, it was assassination attempt. Call it what it is.
Assassination attempt. A lot of that's been blamed on the woke or politically correct. Let's hire a woman as head. And they're calling for her to step down. It's even been pointed out that in the past, nobody would have allowed Trump to get up and raise his fist and say, fight, fight, fight. They would have had him on the floor.
Are you implying that it's not real?
No, I'm saying.
Or are you asking if it was real?
I'm saying, no, I believe it's real. Okay. I believe it's real. All the evidence proves that it's real.
We can have a discussion about that.
Because, there was an agent from the state of Pennsylvania, a state agent, came in contact 63 minutes before the.
What's your question though? Okay,
my thing is, we know that Trump is going to use this as I'm strong. Would you agree that shooting would be good political fodder for the Democrats to bring up gun control during this election?
I don't know, because you're taking it off topic.
Well, who's ever accused a politician of staying on topic?
It's not even about that. It's just the idea that, how can I put this?
In other words, if you hadn't been so...
No, I get what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying.
If you Republicans hadn't been so gun-ho, no pun intended, on letting guns be out there, your candidate wouldn't have been... Your candidate might not have been shot. That's on you.
No, that's not... Listen, because everything about the guy, how he got the gun, falls in line with every other person, how they get a gun.
Illegally, yeah.
Well, it was legal. It's legal.
And he took it without his father's permission.
Well, yeah, I guess that's the illegal part. But nonetheless, so I mean, that's in line. He's a registered Republican.
Yeah, that's another. That's something else I found interesting.
How do you find that interesting? People, look, some Republicans believe that Trump is bad for the country. That's not a new anomaly. So you got that. The backstory of this kid was that he was a loner in high school. He couldn't even join the school rifle team because they claimed he was a bad shot. Because it still proves to be true.
Wow.
I don't know. This is why I do kind of think it's. I know that someone got killed, but I do think it's still fishy. I think the whole thing just doesn't. Look, here's a fact. I don't care.
I mean,
no, listen. Here's a fact. I don't care who you pay. I don't care what price you give. You cannot pay for that picture.
Well, that's true.
That is a picture you can't. I don't know how that's like the greatest picture ever for anyone running for president.
So you're saying that Trump set it up?
Well, maybe not Trump, but I don't know.
Or one of his advisors? Because I remember I texted you.
Yeah, I bet you did.
I texted you and I said, Bruce, take a look at the feed of the Trump shooting and tell me if you think there's something off about it. Because I had suspected,
feed, but I saw like a lot of it.
And you emailed me back and even the link and you said this is real.
No, I didn't say it was real. I said there are other people. No, that's not what I text you. You text me about a lot. I don't know, you should probably said a paragraph or more. But I remember one of the things you mentioned was how did the shooter get to where he was? Well, I sent you a link of a guy who was there who was asking the same questions but giving exact details about how the shooter got to where he was, which even raised more questions because his statement, which I know you didn't see the video because you said you didn't, although again, you the journalist, don't check any of the information sources. The people who were there, and there's multiple videos on this, state they saw the guy climb up on top of that roof. They told the police no one could engage until he fired.
So there's a possibility.
The line in which the perimeter that was set by the Secret Service and the police, he was just outside of that. So no one scouted that area.
But the state police were in charge of that area.
No, okay, I bet they were, but they didn't scout it.
No, they did. In fact, they had people inside the building.
Okay, but they did, but nobody did anything. They
actually had a guy that came up saw the guy on the roof, confronted him 63 minutes before, and the guy turned around and ran.
Did he run or did he just turn around and leave?
He slept.
Okay then, because there's nothing you can do. Because you can carry a weapon. Until he does something, what crime has he committed?
Why would you have an AR?
Hey, if it's legal, what crime have you committed? It's legal. This is what the Second Amendment people wanted. So I don't know if you've been to certain places. I was in Texas.
He was pointing it at the president.
He was up on the roof. Until he makes a shot, nothing is official. I was in Texas. And there was a guy, I think it was a subway. Guns, brandished, wide open. In the subway. You never know. You got to be ready. That's what they'll tell you.
Okay. There's a difference.
No, the point I'm making is that you can carry a weapon.
He should have at least detained him.
For what? What do you detain? What's the crime he committed? You detain people when they commit a crime. It would be unlawful detainment if he did detain him. Now you're putting yourself in trouble as a police. What's the crime he committed? See, this is why the rules are kind of weird, and this is something that
the perimeter was.
You see what I'm doing? I'm using the argument you were just talking about. The Democrats can do this to the Republicans, and you're arguing a semi-justifiable case. But the problem is you're arguing against the rules that's in the books.
No, the perimeter, the outside perimeter, was cordoned off, but the state police were in charge of that.
And the state police are in charge. What do they adhere to? Federal law or state law?
Or when the federal government
adhere to state law if that's their region, right? So the perimeter was cut off by the Secret Service. That's now federal area, because that's what the president is. If they left the other area to state law, then it's a binding state law. So in state law, him being on top of that roof has not committed a crime yet.
No.
Him pointing the gun, crime has yet to still be committed.
No.
He fires the gun, then the crime's committed.
There was a period.
I
There
don't
was
think
an
it was-
area outside the perimeter. My understanding
I don't think you hear what I'm saying.
that was cordoned off, and the Secret Service were in charge of the immediate area. They had given instructions for the Pennsylvania State Police to, and they even had
But Seymour,
people in the building.
Seymour,
They even had officers
Seymour. What does that have to do with the laws that's in the book? Again, the question is, what crime did he commit? That's all I'm asking you. And that's the thing you're yet to answer. What crime has he committed by having a gun lying on the roof in state law? I don't remember where it was.
He wasn't on. He was holding it.
Okay, but still, no law has been broken. That's the point I'm making. You can't arrest someone until they break a law, Seymour. You can't detain someone until a law is broken. He didn't break any laws. Whether you agree with it or not is almost irrelevant. It's the fact that he didn't break a law, hence why the police didn't engage him. They can look, they can monitor the situation, but until he breaks the law, you can't really engage.
In other words, what should have happened is...
I'm not saying in other words should have happened.
No. Okay. What may, in my opinion, what should have happened is, could you agree that the Secret Service should have been with the state police outside, should have put that in.
Seymour, there was a sniper above Trump. He saw that guy. He didn't even open fire on him. He saw that dude. That's why he was taken out so quickly. Because the sniper who watches Trump, who's protective of him, he saw that guy. He didn't open fire on him until he opened fire on Trump. If that guy was a good shot, Trump would be dead regardless. Because everyone was waiting for the thing to happen. Which is another reason why I think it was a fix. Because that's way too many people who are aware of the situation, but aren't doing anything about it. And yet it didn't kill him, but it brandished him.
It was a warning shot.
I don't know if it was a warning shot. I think it was more so, hey, fire, it make it look good. I don't know. I can't explain it. Call it conspiracy theory, but it's just, I don't know.
Well, you know how I feel about conspiracy theories.
I hear you, but some conspiracy theories turn out to be true.
I think that maybe there was someone on the Pennsylvania police who basically, I think it's a possibility that someone on the Pennsylvania police that was there may have wanted Trump dead. And I
don't know about all that. I'm not saying any of that now.
Okay. But I think regardless of what...
I'm not saying it was an attempt to kill Trump. My argument is that it's an attempt to make Trump look stronger. It was not meant to kill him. It was only meant to make him look stronger. Someone dying is more of an accident, but, sometimes you got to pay the cost to be the boss. There's casualties.
You got to break eggs to make an omelet.
Sometimes you got to.
That's an interesting concept, and so
another shot. You cannot listen. You really tell me that ain't one of the most motivational things you can see. The guy got shot in the face, got up and said, "Fight." He's taking literal bullets for his base. You can say all these things, whether they're factual statements or not. That image makes it a factual statement.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way. And so even if Trump, I don't think Trump would, but maybe one of his supporters could have possibly fixed it to make him look good without Trump knowing. Wouldn't you? Would you? Because I don't see Trump doing something like that.
See, those people, they see the shooter. This is well before he fires. They see him.
Yeah. I'll be damned. Oh, point that towards the...
No, I want you to see it because the video's online. But I'm saying, see, that it's not a secret. He was there. I tried to save as many videos as I could of this thing because it really is a moment in history. It's a strong moment in history. I don't know. This is a moment in history. These are the that photo I show you. This is the guy or girl who took the photo. This is shot by shot frame of Trump after he got shot, getting up, doing the whole thing. It's getting there. They got to get in position, of course. That's the photo. I'm telling you, man, this is a moment in history.
And that's going to become a campaign photo. How much do you want to bet?
I mean, how much you want to bet? It's already a T-shirt.
Really?
Seymour, you really are out of the loop in things.
Well, I don't go for political T-shirts. Haven't yet.
It's not political T-shirts. It's just being aware of how the public engages.
Actually, I did think I did see one of them on the convention floor. Come to think of it,
I just like to see. Like I said, I like to just understand the engagement of the public in these events.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that someone in the audience, but I don't see Trump arranging that.
No, I'm not saying Trump arranged it. You don't have to arrange it. All you got to do is just play his role. We're going to make you look good. Just keep your head tilted.
Well,
and maybe I'm crazy. There's no proof of it. These are theories. I have no proof. It's just, I've been watching wrestling for a long time. And you can sometimes tell when things all work. And that looked like it was a work. That's an insider term for fake.
okay. Well, on that note,
Oh yeah.
anybody who views this,
Let me see. That's
you
see, that's him, and that's what they're representing, saying how his head had moved. The dotted line is the path of the bullet. That's how close it nicked him. But you see how it just nicked him?
Yeah.
And if you look at the video up here, he just keeps looking in that direction, so it's like he's looking for something.
Well, no, he was looking at the chart behind him.
No, he was facing where the shooter was. The direction where the shooter was shooting from, Trump was facing in that direction. I'm not saying he saw the shooter. I'm saying that was the direction he was facing. He wasn't looking away from it. No, you look surprised. You didn't realize that. Okay, let me see if I got to show you this other video.
I thought it came from.
No, it didn't come from behind. It came from in front. The bullet came this way. It nicked him like that. Well, he thought it came from behind. Would have been really badass if that was the case. But
No, I mean, if Trump had been facing straight forward,
yeah, if it was like the audience.
yeah, that it came from that direction.
But no, it came from the right. Yeah, from this side. That's where the shooter was. Shooter was at least off in this direction. Trump was leaning on the podium, talking in this direction. Trump had a sniper just above him, also pointing in that direction. That's two people who at least were looking in the same direction as the sniper, as he was looking in that direction.
So you think this was a fix?
Oh, I'm not saying, y'all listen, on a percentage scale, about 65 to 70%.
Well, originally I thought it was fishy, which is why I texted you that if you saw something, because when you shoot, and I'm not much into guns, but when you shoot and you assassinate someone, there are three areas you go for: head, heart, and abdomen. Okay? Instant kill. Right?
Ideally.
Why that would pass by his ear, of course, the guy was, like I said, the guy in high school.
See? Yeah. This is where you see where Trump's facing. The shooter, the bullets are going that way.
Okay, well, those of you that are viewing this,
I know they can't see it, but I mean, look, it's all
I want you to go on and view this stuff and
there he is.
View the videos.
That's Trump's sniper right there. You see, he sees the guy.
Damn.
He sees the man, and then he fires after Trump.
Wait a minute. Can you rewind that?
Yeah, that's Trump's sniper. You see, he's aimed. if you listen, you see how he fires.
Yeah, but Trump.
It's a little, and that's a fan cam. Oh, in fact, hold on a second. I just realized something. There's the sniper.
Uh-huh.
There's Trump. Sniper sees the guy. Maybe Trump is looking at the sniper. I don't know. But either way, the sniper sees the shooter. And these are fan cams.
Huh.
Media didn't catch this stuff.
Well, on that note, I'm going to ask anybody that sees this to come in and view these, view the shooting, and
there's
please,
the map layout.
Yeah, that's.
So
and
that's a lot to take in.
And put your comments on this site. You can also reach me at Right Stuff Seymour at Twitter, which is WRITECMOUR.
What is Twitter?
Or X.
Okay.
At X or Twitter, whatever.
Stay with the times, old man.
Yeah, well, it's, if you just go to X and you look up Right Stuff Seymour, WRITE, the letter CMOUR, you can reach me that way. Also, put your comments about that and what you've heard here, because we want people to reply. Bruce is a good buddy. He's between now and the next, well, actually, probably the next time, if not before, but certainly after the Democratic convention, we will do that and
rendezvous and talk about it again. See where we go.
And let's. And do you think Biden should, if you're a Democrat, do you think Biden should step down? And if so, who do you think should run in his place? If you're a Republican,
also, if you're a Democrat, do you think Michelle Obama will make a good vice presidential candidate?
Oh, well, they've already approached that one, and she said she's not going to run.
I hear it should be anything. Okay, go ahead, wrap it up.
That is fact.
That's it. Let's wrap it up.
So this is Keith Seymour and Albert Bruce Moore.
I hope you have a good rest of your day. Good night.